So I'm Hugh. I was part of the Nations, Empires and Geographies group, and probably, as is going to be a common theme, we quickly found out that we didn't really have that much in common. Well, in terms of our interests. We then also, as I'm reading what we were meant to do, didn't do that either. Slide 1, we don't really have a literature review or any key books, but we came up with an idea of what we'd like to do in a way that we thought we could get all our ideas together in an engaging way. And this is kind of the final product, and so we've got kind of the long-term aim of what we thought we could achieve, and then maybe in the short term, how Chase can help us to achieve it. So the long-term aim is to set up a blog, but one that's sustainable and high quality, and importantly, can reach a public audience. So a way of getting our research out into the wider community in a way that's interesting and engaging. So ideally, the topic of our blog would be, or the way we would get into our blog would be to talk about the current impact of our research. How can we relate our research to current events and what's going on in the world at the minute? We thought the topic of nations, empires and geography was quite useful in giving us the opportunity to do that. We were all talking about kind of issues, key issues. We've got people like John talking about the Rwandan Civil War in 1990. But even right back to medieval history, we're still talking about key issues such as imaginary borders was a big topic. So particularly when we think about issues in Europe at the minute, we thought that's quite a relevant way of getting our research out there. So how would we do that? What would we need from Chase in order to set up a blog in the long term? We weren't really sure what is viable from Chase in this sense, but we really realised what we need would be a way of facilitating this. We know we'd need an editorial team. We didn't know if Chase would be able to provide us with either an editor or some sort of technical facilitator to give us the technical ability to maintain this, make sure that we're motivated as PhD students who've got other things to do, make sure it's high quality, and then we realised that we might get some very angry people writing very angry comments on our blog, and we needed to work out how to deal with that. So kind of speculating if Chase would be able to help us with that. And then also, when it recently occurred to us that the idea of a postgraduate journal from Chase has been mooted, we'd have to work out how that would work out alongside what we wanted to do. So that's then the short term. We then had a look at the ideas on the slide of what Chase could help us with. We looked at a book sprint and then were positively terrified of the idea. Apparently writing a book in 5 days seems a bit much. So then we found a sandpit meeting, which we Googled and thought was quite a good idea. Because we didn't really want a training session. We didn't want to go into a training day and have loads of ideas thrown at us which sounded really great and then we didn't know how to implement them. So we wanted to be able to leave our training day and be ready to put on our event or to start our blog there and then. So we need ideally we'd like a facilitator and the following sorts of training sessions. So how to set up a blog, kind of what platform would we use? Is WordPress the best way to use that, to do that? Have someone who's adept at using WordPress to come in and help us. We'd like kind of a session on how to edit, how to work as an editorial team. We're all from different universities throughout Chase. It's not going to be easier for us to meet up on a regular basis. So how does an editorial team work? How would we go about making this blog work on a day-to-day basis? Would we have an editor and then lots of submissions editors and things like that? We thought it would be really useful to know, not just for an academic blog, but for a journal in the future, for a conference. How do we do that? Workshops also on things like self-plagiarism, because we all kind of speculated about what that actually means, and no one's entirely sure. But we know it's a thing, and we probably need to know a little bit more about that if we're going to publish things in a wider community. We'd like to know how not to get ourselves in trouble. And then generally, workshops on writing for non-academic audiences, which some of us had attended and said they were useful. So how to get out what we want to say in an 800-word blog post. For example, how to write not just for the 3 academics in the world that are interested in what we're studying. So yeah, that was our idea.